All right, good afternoon, good morning, guys. What I wanted to make up real quick was just a short video to go over kind of the daily grind and how concept mapping is going to work for us this year in class. Okay, so a couple things you're going to need if you're looking at my screen is going to be the concept map rubric. If you're back here in the course materials, you have your syllabus, you have your concept map rubric. I'm going to kind of be pointing through these the next little bit of time. All right, first, let's start with this slide right here, the core content outlines. Every day we are going to be reading before we come to class. Okay, so what you're going to want to be focusing on are the key terms, the key topics for each module that we're covering. Okay, so if you're reading through this, you'll see at the beginning of every chapter there is a list of key terms. You will find this. This is memory right here that you'll see that you'll need to use for the memory chapter. So you're here at module 31. You're going to see the objective, and then you'll see all these terms right here that you're going to be using to go ahead and basically concept map. And they're organized here in bullets, as I'll show you here on the board in just a minute to get things set up and get them organized, okay? Each section has keywords that are highly likely to appear in the exam. I pull these from multiple books, help books, review guides, so I've done my homework. Not to say God has every single word, but you should be pretty good to go. Each unit has a list of key psychologists that you'll see. And like I said, this is your study guide for our exams. Okay, so on this next slide right here, start with the reading sheet. Check what's going to be due that day, and then use my organized outline to help set up how your concept map is going to work. All right, each day to prepare for AP Psych, read the objective, have an idea of what you're looking for, and then go ahead and start making up your concept map. Okay, as I've said, go ahead and really what you're focusing on is defining and applying the key terms, okay? In this course, we have to learn 1,000 words. Many of the words we have to use are common sense because you're human and you've all experienced them. But we have to learn the fancy name for them, how we can define them, but also how we can apply them meaningfully to your life. So you did that over the summer with your book, and we're going to do it for every single word we learn this year. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to read your text. Your text is good because it's at a good reading level for a high school student. They give a lot of filler, a lot of stories to help your applications. You want to make sure you read it all. What you are hunting for are the definitions and an application for each of the terms that are on your list, okay? If you get a term that has a really tough application and the text does not, in your opinion, give you an application that you can make sense of, make a note of it and bring it to class and ask a question. My job in class, as we're going to find out, especially now in Cardinal Academy, is to really save class time for demos to teach the content. I'll be posting screencastifies of lectures if I feel the need to, but we're going to be doing a lot of demos in class to really teach the content with the time that we have. Okay, so what I want to do real quick is just kind of walk you guys through what you'll be doing each and every day. I'm going to try right now. I may have to go ahead and cut this off, but what I want to do is I just want to switch over and show you guys there we go. I'm going to switch over and show you guys right now the board and show you how I'm going to make sense of what we're going to be doing every day. Okay, so hopefully you can see this. I'll try to move it up a little bit more so you can kind of make some sense of it. Okay, so here we go. So what we're going to be doing every day is this is kind of a sample concept map of what I've made up. Okay, and I'll show you the rubric in just a second. But right here, what you have in the middle of the board is our keyword, our anchor word. Okay, so once again, if we're looking at this key list, right here, you'll see memory, and then you'll see info processing model. That first word right there is basically the blanket word for the whole unit. So what I'm doing is I'm going to go right up here, and I'm going to put that word right in the middle. Okay, now you've done concept mapping before. You've probably used mind mapping or some other word at Sandy Run. We call it concept mapping. It's not rocket science, but here's some of the things you want to follow to get it so that it's done the right way. You start the page off with a fresh page. So up here at the top, I give it a title. I use module 31, studying and encoding memory. That's at the top of my page. I suggest one page for each section, each module. If you go over that, that's fine, okay? But give yourself room, take your space, use as much paper as you need, okay? Now down here in the middle of the page, I'm going to write the word memory, okay? The term memory, I give it its own bubble. Use as many shapes, use whatever things you want to use, it's fine. But you notice right here the word memory, I have my definition, the persistence of learning over time. Good definition. My application, what I did was notice what I wrote. Jim has a memory of his phone number because he dials it every day. It's a real world scenario. Notice the context it's written. I use a name. That tends to help kids remember what to do. But notice what I've done here. I'm you can infer and kind of imply from my definition, my application, that I'm using what the meaning of this is. Because I do it every day, I will probably have a strong memory of my phone number. Okay. That application right there shows a direct understanding and implementation of the content in the application. Okay. So you have to make sure you do that for each term. This will be tough. It will take you time. And let's be honest, a lot of times kids want to cut it short. If you give me an application with just 1 or 2 words, or you just give me phone number, that's not good. You want to write these now as if this is an exam, because that's how you're going to shape your behavior and doing these the right way for the exam in May. Okay, so now what I do is I got my word memory. Now I notice my next word is the info processing model. I take the info processing model for that term right there, and I could honestly infer that from that term, there's 3 parts of that definition: the encoding, storage, and retrieval aspect. So then I'm going to go ahead and branch out again: encoding, storage, retrieval. For each one of these, definition and application, definition, application, definition, application. You notice what I did here: color. Your brain works with colors. I give this guy over here its own color. So my info processing model is orange. All the 3 terms that are part of it are orange. There's a good chance when you take your test, if I give you a question on the info processing model, you'll remember back to the color of those words on your page and have a better chance at recalling it if you just wrote it in pencil. So that's why you need to make sure that you do this in color. Okay. So a lot of the stuff I saw in the summer looked pretty good. You get the idea of what we're talking about. Now, last thing over here, every application wants to be highlighted. Okay. Down here, any key people. I will give you key people on every concept map. At the bottom of the page, I'll say key people. For key people, you give them their own color, and you're going to give me a definition basically of their achievement, no application. So for George Miller, he created the idea of something called chunking, 7 plus or minus 2. When you go ahead and you'll now know that he is related to this page in your concept map, and hopefully because he's his own separate color and you know that it's chunky, you can remember back to that. Because there could be a question where I talk about maybe George Miller, and boom, if you can associate George Miller with chunking, you get the question right. Okay, so this right here, like I said, is a pretty basic example of what concept mapping is. Now, there are some other things that we have to be clear on. Okay, I just want to show you this rubric here real quickly. Okay, this rubric is up on Schoology, and to walk you through it, each concept map is 25 points. Okay, 25 points. Basically, students, as you're going to find, do well on these if they get them in on time and they follow the rules. Number 1, have a cover sheet. Your first page of your concept map should be a blank piece of paper that's got the unit title on it. So Unit 1, memory. Have your name on it, the section, the date. You can color it in and get creative. That's fine. Please just don't use a piece of notebook paper. Okay. All right. All your topics are labeled. All key terms in psychologist are highlighted in 2 different colors. Okay. 1 term for a key term, 1 term for a psychologist. So like I said, black is fine for key terms. If you want to go and, color code them differently based on their category, I highly encourage that. Exhaustive coverage of the unit concepts taken from the class and the text. Okay, so what we talk about in class, maybe you add to it, you add your notes to it. You can take additional notes on the back. That's fine too. Terms are digested. They're not copied word for word from the text. Okay, think about it. Write your own definition. It's chunked. It's organized. It's broken apart. If you throw all the terms in kind of their own individual group, that's not showing me that you tried to organize your content. The first couple concept maps, I try to organize them for you to show you how it's all set up. And the text is a good help to do that. Okay. Use color and shapes. You don't need to necessarily use the web example. If you want to use a flow chart, if you want to use a chart, if you want to use a pyramid, for example, use some of the stuff you've seen over the last 12 years in your schooling to kind of help generate an idea of what a concept map could look like. The webbing is a good start, but it's not the be-all, end-all. Okay. There's a written and accurate explanation for each task. The map connects to personal life by giving applications in a real-world scenario. Okay. So that's what we're talking about. Include demos. Okay. So when we did the Lifesaver demo for introspection, you would probably write that on there. Think back to the Lifesaver demo. It showed introspection. Fine. Okay. So that's how we want to do it. A couple of other things that I've just noticed, obviously, since we're in virtual right now, some of the best ways for me to grade them on Schoology was to take an individual picture of each page, put it in one Google Doc, and then submit it. If you submit a picture of each page, that works too. Okay. Please try to keep them in order. Okay. And make sure that your cover page is first. Okay. I would highly encourage against doing them typing or typing them out, because here's the problem you're going to run into: organization and printing them out big enough so that you can read them. Handwriting them out tends to be the best way to go about doing it. Okay. I thought this would be helpful. I hope it is helpful. But like I said, I hope that by getting a chance to watch this and having it up there all year, it can help you do it. So what I'm going to ask that you do now is go ahead and you're going to start concept mapping, kind of where I left off, your section on memory. Concept map the whole module. Okay. It'll take you some time. Then we're going to come into class tomorrow and we're going to work with it with some demos that are going to teach the content that you looked at last night. So having this out every day in coordination with our PowerPoints and our notes is going to really set you up well, I think, for success in the class. Okay. So thanks for watching, and we will see you guys soon. Okay. Thanks.